We are going to get back to talking Michigan football with one of the best guys out there, in my opinion, breaks it down like few others. Great knowledge of the game, but can convey that knowledge to the lay fan in a way that's entertaining and informative. And I'm talking about a guy who is now doing his thing over at the Big Ten Network. Joining us on the OAM Metro Health Sports guest line is Marcus Ray, Ray29. How you doing?
Sam, I'm doing well. Ira, good to talk to you guys again. Like I said earlier, y'all gonna learn today, baby.
That's what we figured. We gave a morning class, and now it's time for you to give an afternoon class.
And so, Marcus, let me set the table for you just a little bit. We're looking at this offensive football team. It was a performance that even Doug Nussmeier said they regressed in that contest. So let's assume, for the sake of argument, they changed the quarterback, which I think they're going to do. There are a lot of other things on top of that have to get better. So you got a new quarterback. You got to like get to a point where you can stretch the field. You got to clean up all of these other errors from penalties to missed assignments. What's the approach? What approach do you take when you have so many leaks that you got to plug?
First thing you do is you start up front with that offensive line who can't block athletic front. That's just the truth. They're going to push around inferior opponents like App State, like Miami, and run the ball down their throats. And so, in my opinion, that offensive line is a middleweight boxer who punches well at his weight. But once it goes up into the big boy heavyweight division, then that's when they start taking punches and they don't look so hot. Before you devise any type of offensive game plan or strategy, you have to base it around what you can do up front. So we know Michigan can't line up and pound any athletic front, but that's the first thing that they need to do is figure out who's going to be up front, because I'm not impressed with both offensive tackles. I know Mason Cole is young. Ben Braden has played a lot of games, but I think they have trouble with movement, guys stunning across their face, beating them upfield on pass rush. So it doesn't matter who you play at quarterback. And then you have to find a guy at running back who can do what he's coached to do every down and who can do things he's not coached to do, which is make people miss, run guys over. So Michigan's problems, it starts and ends with the fact that they can't recreate the line of scrimmage, and now people can crowd the line. That's why Doug Nussmeier calls a lot of play-action passes, sprint-out passes. But if he's going to go vertical, he's going to have to keep more guys in for pass protection, whether it's a tight end, 2 extra backs, and then if you can run the ball like that out of a power formation, now you're going to force defenses to come closer to the line. That'll open up your play-action game and your max protect. Then you can throw the ball vertical and get those chunks of 30 and 40 yards. But Michigan shoots themselves in the foot because anytime they're faced with a long drive, they'll look good for about, 40, 50% of the drive, and then they'll start to malfunction. But that offensive line is what needs to be fixed first. And then you can decide what you're going to do at quarterback.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that may be according to Brady Hoke, because he said that there was a question about changes on the offensive line. He said, well, if there are going to be any, we aren't going to tell you about it. Kind of giving the impression that that's something that they are looking at in addition to the quarterback. And it's, I think you agree with me when I say it's not all, the offensive woes weren't all Devin Gardner for sure. Now, you do have a guy, give me the way forward. Give me the glass half full perspective. I mean, can this team in this year's Big Ten, and this year's Big Ten isn't a typical Big Ten. Can this year's team improve enough to be competitive in this year's Big Ten?
I'm going to say yes. And I know the fan base don't like that. Everyone's ready for change and they want to throw in the towel. Michigan is 0-0 in the Big Ten. The Big Ten East is wide open with one favorite, Michigan State. They probably are the best team in the conference so far, and they got their tough games at home. But Michigan doesn't play Michigan State for 30 days. And then another 30 days after that, they play Ohio State. So with the upcoming 3 games, with an off week of practice to heal up, Michigan is better than Rutgers. Michigan is better than Penn State. Michigan is better than Minnesota. So that's 3 wins that I'm counting moving forward with an off week. before you even have to play against Michigan State. So they got time to win and still fix their miscues and play better football. I played the game. I've been on the team that struggled before, so I kind of know what that's like and what you have to do. But Michigan can't afford to lose any of these next 3 games. Every game from now on is a championship game. Utah and Notre Dame were not championship games. They were preseason football games. Michigan looked good in the preseason last year and lost 6 out of their last 8. So for me, I'm looking at this thing saying Penn State should be 1-2. The only reason why they're not is because they got a field goal kicker who made 4 field goals in the first game. He made 2 in the game against Rutgers, and he saved Michigan. He saved Penn State. Christian Hackenberg has more interceptions than touchdowns, but because he's 3-0 and his defense is playing well, he gets all the credit. But my thing is, Rutgers, I'm not buying it. Paul James just went up with a knee injury. That was their running game. Gary Noble will throw you the ball. Minnesota, they're one-dimensional. They're a one-trick pony versus what Michigan does best, stop the run. So I don't think Penn State's going to come to the big house and win. Minnesota's going to get beat. The question is, can Michigan go on the road and beat Rutgers? They'll be 3-0 in the conference going into the game in East Lansing, and it could be a completely different football team. And then you're going to start to hear all of the bandwagon riders, all of the fair weather fans start to get back on the tease wagon and say, we haven't beat anybody just yet. You know what's funny, though? The same people that's trashing Brady Holt and trashing Devin Gardner probably got their autographs sitting at home. And then you want to wonder why players and coaches don't want to take pictures with you. They don't want to sign autographs for you. That's why you send your kids up to them with little balls, because we don't tell kids no, because we know how fans love you when you're up and hate you when you're down. And that's why I can't wait to see the Wolverines win these next 3 games.
So Marcus, let me be devil's advocate here for a second. I mean, clearly, and you've heard Brady say this as well, and the players say this, clearly their performance on the field has not been up to snuff. So what should the fan reaction be if the one that they are giving right now isn't appropriate?
I think the fan reaction should be frustrated with the fact that Michigan's not playing well, but be excited with the fact that they can get better and that they're 0-0 in the conference. And they've got 3 winnable games. Michigan's not playing perfect. I'll take you back to the best team Michigan ever had. Notre Dame should have beat Michigan in 97. Okay? They went 99 yards in 2 minutes running the ball. Iowa, an inferior team, had the national champions down 21-7. Okay? Now, 2 different animals, maybe it's apples and oranges, but the fan base needs to just wait and see, because they don't understand the pressure enough for a player to go out and try to win for himself and his team, let alone to deal with all the chatter of who their next coaches should be. We don't know who the next coach should be. Right now, the coach is Brady Holt. The AD is Dave Brandon, and until that changes or it looks fun, or Michigan's 0-4 in the conference, then save all of your criticism and all your haterade for that moment. But right now, you have to wait and see. It does you no good to complain because you're not going to change the fact that you're 2-2. You can't get it back. Watch the game. If you don't want to go to the game, watch it at home. But if you don't want to do that, watch another team. And what I'm starting to figure out, when you smear maize and blue, then it turns green. So if you don't want to cheer for Michigan, go cheer for the other team down the street. That's how I am. I feel like that as an analyst, a coach, and a former player. Yeah. That's the first time I've said that, Sam. You can coin that. Make sure nobody else say it. I'm going to say it on the Big Ten Network. When you smear maize and blue, it turns green. And that's what's happening. So when is the Michigan fan base going to stand up and fight instead of criticize? It's easy to throw rocks at somebody, but it's harder to stand out there and get hit by some rocks and throw something back. So my thing is, I'm forced to be neutral because of my job. But I do understand how college football works. So as a fan base, you need to be quiet, watch the game, be critical about what needs to get better. But you can't have it both ways. How you going to trash the head coach and the starting quarterback and then expect to win? You can't have it both ways. Sit back, watch what happens, have your own opinion about it. There's a difference between being critical and attacking people. That's something different. What if Devin Gardner was your son? What if Brady Holt was your daddy? And so but that comes with the job. But my thing on Michigan fans is, whatever happened to those who stay will be champions? Whatever happened to the team? Oh, did we forget that? You only got one national title in 67 years. Okay? You're 19 and 20 and 1 against Ohio State in the last 40. You got one Rose Bowl championship in 17 years. Pump the brakes for a second. Did you forget that the other guys got better too? Michigan State now is the best team in the conference. Ohio State is who they are because Michigan is down. So until it turns around, those comments, that negative energy ain't going to change nothing. And resentment is like drinking poison, waiting for the other guy to get sick. Sit back, support these young Wolverines. If they're not good enough, then we all got to live with it. Brady Hoke ain't the man for the job. We got to live with it. And then the powers that be will do what they have to do.
Well,
I thought he brought it this morning.
Yeah, I did too. Clearly, that's something that's been weighing on you, Mr. Ray. I guess in closing, if you can very briefly give me your take, because I guess in all of the regression and maybe subpar performances, I thought the defense actually showed some improvement from Notre Dame to Utah.
And briefly, Sam, you're right. That defense is fighting, scratching, and clawing, and that's another reason Michigan's going to have a chance to be in every football game because their defense stops the run well. They don't create enough turnovers, obviously. They don't make enough big plays or knock people out or give you any of those. They don't scare anybody. But fundamentally, in the front seven, they do a good job of stopping the run, and they're going to have to do that this week. They're going to have to do it every week. Force teams to be one-dimensional, try to get some turnovers. Michigan special teams need to step up to help that offense. Michigan State was worse. Michigan State's offense was worse 12 months ago than Michigan's is right now. It was worse, but their defense was leaps and bounds better and bought them some time to do what they did. So all I'm saying is defensively, Greg Maddux is going to have to stop this run, keep those guys playing at a high level, get the secondary's confidence up, so that they can start making some plays because Michigan's defense is going to need that secondary, and you do that by getting a pass rush, linebackers blitzing, getting quarterbacks under duress. But it's not all over till it's over. And that's just not how I roll because we won a national championship by fighting back. We won a Big Ten title in 98 by fighting back. And I remember a fan base that used to support regardless. I'm not saying you got to like it. I'm not saying you gotta love the football because it's not good football right now. But don't throw dirt and try to just sabotage the program now. Support it by not being critical. So the defense gotta go out there and step up and then let the chips fall where they may. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if Michigan was to run the East, which probably won't happen, but if it does, there's going to be a lot of people that I would like to see go ahead and change colors, take it down the street, and don't come back. Those who stay. But the key point there, when Coach Tim Beckler said those who stay, he wasn't talking about the fans. He was talking about the players. Those who stay, meaning stay the course, meaning stay at Michigan, means who stay with the commitment to the team. Those are the ones that will be champions, and that's why Lloyd said the critic never counts.
Wow. Well, Marcus Ray, like I said, bringing the fire this afternoon, man. We appreciate you taking the time with us. And obviously we'll talk to you again soon.
Take care, fellas. One love, baby. Take care, fellas. One love, baby.